Hey, everybody. I am here going live. I didn't tell anybody about it, so we'll see if anybody joins. It is Wednesday, and I made a promise to myself that I will check in with people and see how things are going and go live in an impromptu fashion. So here I am. I wanted to share some updates with people. And hey, I see some people coming in. If you have any thoughts or questions, it's just going to be a short live today. It's not going to be one of my epically long lives like I've done in the past because I have an appointment at 2 o'clock. Hey, what's going on? Hey, welcome. I just wanted to make sure I checked in with people because September is Healthy Sexuality Month. I have some cool new podcasts coming out. The podcast, Road 360. Expensive is relative, my friend. It has to do with value. I'm a value purchaser. And there is a $79 program at the bottom of that program if you can't afford the $9.99 investment. Now, I totally get, sorry, I stopped saying what I was doing, but I totally get that it is an investment, but that program is jam packed with all the tools, techniques, strategies, and support that you need. And actually, what I'm adding to that program is that I'm going to do live webinars myself each month. Right now, I do quarterly webinars, but I'm getting back on track. So I'm going to be doing live monthly webinars to make sure that people's questions are answered. And when you sign up for the program, you also get a coaching session with Zach Carter. That program is worth it. And before I leave, Road 360's comment about my program being too expensive is that it's actually, if you went to see a CSAT, a certified sex addiction therapist, most of them charge $300 an hour. And so like basically that would get you three therapy sessions. And instead you get 90 plus days, because I've added modules, 90 plus days of content that there are lessons and exercises using cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, using neurological regulation techniques, using mindfulness. You can walk through that program, and the value you're going to get is amazing. And I can tell you that wholeheartedly. So I get it's an investment, but if you save your shekels and you get into it, people don't regret it. Okay, hey everybody. Hey Abel. Thank you. I'm glad you are enjoying the program, and more importantly, I hope that it is helping you. Hey Siddhartha. Hey Susmit. Hopefully I said that right. Jay Move, what's happening, my friend? You're welcome. I am here to support you. I really want to be able to help you figure out that porn is not good for you, to be able to move through the process to help heal your brain. King, I'm sorry about the relapse, and I'm going to dive into that question. We'll put it up. And if you have any other questions, we're going to be here for 15 more minutes today. So it's going to be a shorty, but I wanted to make sure I showed up for you. Relapsed twice yesterday. How do I recover? You've probably heard me say this before. There is only win or learn. A relapse is not a loss. And I know a lot of the things I say are cheesy, but they're cheesy so that you remember them in the moment. So if you relapsed yesterday, you relapsed for a reason. And people say this to me all the time, is that, I don't know why I relapsed. Well, increasing self-awareness and increasing self-regulation is part of our work here together. So when it comes to relapse, I want you to look at what was happening in the moments, the hours, the days, and even the week or the month before you relapsed. And typically it's a breakdown in the foundation that we're trying to set here together. So likely you haven't actually set that foundation for success. And going back to, the thought of my program being expensive is it has everything you need to build the foundation to be able to succeed, to learn from your relapses that should really only happen early on, because then you're learning. And when you learn, you don't relapse anymore. If you keep relapsing, it's because you have not set the foundation for success. So that is what we're talking about here. So, King, spend some time, get a journal, think about it. What happened that led you back into the screen? It's usually stress or boredom. And remember, it's going to pull you back in. You break access of going back in because the pull is there. It's a super normal stimulus. It's going to pull you back in, but stress and boredom are going to push you in. So start there, okay, without me overthinking it here. Does porn cause OCD? Jennison asks. Definitely. And the reason I'm telling you definitely, and I know that's profound, and I probably shouldn't be making profound statements, but what I know is that porn causes a brain that's running too fast and too slow. OCD is a reflection of a brain that's running too fast and too slow. And OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. So essentially, you'll have obsessive thoughts, and then you will have to act compulsively to make those thoughts go away. What does that sound like? Porn cravings and urges are those obsessive sexual thoughts that lead you back to a compulsive behavior to make your brain feel better. So they are very highly related. And many times, yes, porn puts your brain in that position that in fact it can cause OCD. Many of the people that I work with have OCD behaviors when they're caught up in the porn cycle, and those behaviors decrease as their brain heals. Okay, so let me see here. I kind of let these messages get away from me. Let's see. I didn't read it. I probably should have read it before I put up. How can I get a brain MRI to see how messed up my brain is? Does it cost much? Honestly, if you were willing to invest, I do brain assessments that are called qEEG. And this isn't the sales part. This is the making a differentiation between an MRI and a qEEG. On a brain map, and if I knew how to share anything here, my screen, I don't even know if I have the ability to do that. I could show you, but I plan on making more content that does share brain maps. Basically, an MRI is a physical assessment of your brain. It's magnetic resonance imaging. So it's an image of the physical structures of your brain. So in terms of how porn damages a brain, sometimes it can physically damage your brain. When I talk about damage, I'm talking about functional damage, the way your brain performs. And when I perform a qEEG brain map, that is the assessment that I can do that looks at how your brain is performing. You see it with your own eyes. And basically, when it comes to porn consumption, there's two main brain patterns that I see, and I will be sharing images of them. And actually, you can see at least one of them on my website. I was going to try to multitask here and get the page for my website that describes all of this. It's qEEG brain map, and I'm going to put it in the comments here. Look at me. I'm feeling pretty accomplished here, being able to cut and paste a link. And basically what happens in a qEEG is we can see the way that your brain is using electrical energy. That's what I'm always talking about, a brain that's running too fast, a brain that's running too slow. That's what you can see on the qEEG brain map. And on the page that I just put in the chat box, what it shows is examples of what symptoms you might have if your brain's running too slow, what symptoms you might have if your brain's running too fast, and other types of brain patterns. And when you work with me, the brain map is $799. And let's go back to Road 360 is probably thinking that's very expensive, but the cool part about that is it's definitely an investment. So, I'm definitely not playing that down. But now with advances in technology, using 2023 newest technology, you can take the brain map at home, and I mail you a sensor and paste. I give you access to a specialized app. And if you need to purchase the Muse headband, and I can put the link in there. I'm always talking about the Muse headband. Even if you don't do the assessment with me, the Muse headband is an amazing tool. I use mine just about every day, except for today because it's very busy and getting away from me. We plug the sensor into the Muse headband, and using specialized software, the Muse is the hardware. We have specialized software, not the Muse. We're able to take a full brain map with you never leaving your home. And it's a state of the art brain map. It's amazing. And it shows you so much more than an MRI. An MRI wouldn't even show you any of the functional dysfunction that is happening. So, I'm always talking about brain dysfunction. So that is something that you can look at and check out, and it's $799. And for that, you can take your whole brain map, and then we spend an hour together on Zoom. I tell you everything your brain is doing and what your brain needs to heal. And people love those sessions. Anybody who has a brain map really loves it. And then I offer personal coaching where I can work with people personally. If that's something that you're interested in, that doesn't have to be what you do after the brain map. The brain map is a different service. It's an assessment service. But if you want to work together, that becomes an option for those people who qualify. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. What's the biggest struggle you see in people who have taken my program? The biggest struggle, honestly, is completing the program. And, getting started and kind of getting over that hump of, it's a personal transformation program. So at the beginning, your brain is in a very dysfunctional state. We have to heal it and keep you out of the screen to allow your brain to rewire itself. Once your brain doesn't have to be all the way rewired, but once it's moving into that rewire stage, the rest of the program can be pretty easy for a person. The difficult part is getting them from the beginning of that program over that hump to the rewire stage. That can be a really challenging piece for people. That's why I'm going to get back into, right now we offer a paid accountability group, but I'm going to get back into offering the monthly accountability group and Q&A. And then again, when you sign up for the program, you get a complimentary coaching call with Zach Carter. Zach offers personal coaching that can go along with the program. And if you do coaching, it moves you through that difficult part, getting you, and he can help you, win or learn and never lose and keep moving forward in the program. So I would say that's the biggest difficulty. Like any program, if you know this, there's huge attrition when somebody signs up for anything. If 20 people sign up, one person makes it through. And we have a much higher percentage because we do have accountability, but that's probably the biggest challenge. Okay, we did the OCD, coping mechanisms that I could replace PMO. First of all, Mutaz, hopefully I'm saying that right. I don't want you to put coping mechanisms in place long-term. You definitely might want to do that in the early stages, but if you're just coping, that means you've never moved into the, rewire and hardwire stage. And in the hardwire stage, your brain is hardwired into the new functional brain pattern, which means you don't have to cope anymore. So I will answer your question. We're going to answer it twofold here is, okay, what are some coping mechanisms in the short run? But in the long run, what should this healing program look like? Okay, number one, coping mechanisms. We know that you're going back into the screen for dopamine. You're going there for dopamine hits because porn is a super normal stimulus. It has a lot of novelty. Likely you've crossed over a threshold. So there's also a friction point of anxiety. It is giving your brain this massive feel-good feeling from too much dopamine. So part of the coping mechanisms is to try to start getting as much dopamine as possible going in your actual life. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter of pleasure. Dopamine hits pretty hard when you feel it. So if you've ever won a triathlon, not that I have, that's the feeling when you break through that ribbon. That's a dopamine feeling. You just cranked it out and you just won something. Dopamine hits a little harder. It's pleasure and motivation. So you want to try to do things that give you as much dopamine. And you can do a Google search on that, but we know healthy things that give you dopamine are exercise. That's why I always say lift heavy stuff. Lift heavy stuff, go for runs. It's 1,000,000 degrees in North Carolina, and I keep going for daily runs just to get the system going, get the dopamine flowing, get serotonin flowing, decrease cortisol, the stress hormone. So exercise is a really good one. Food is dopamine producing. I don't want people moving into a food addiction, but at the same time, food can, if you make a meal and you eat a meal together, that's going to give you dopamine. Chocolate is dopamine producing. Having sex with your honey is dopamine producing. But before we move to the next thing, just remember all of those things in the real world have less dopamine than your brain is used to from porn. So it's not going to hit the same, but it's a really good coping mechanism. So now what do you do over the long haul? If you've watched my videos, there's over 800 videos on this channel now. If you've watched them, you know that the solution is to get on purpose in your work. And work can be really dopamine producing. Why do you think I'm here? Because I love to help people. Not only does it give me dopamine, it gives me serotonin to feel happy. It gives me oxytocin to connect with you. So get on purpose in your work, in your relationships, and in your hobbies. And, if you haven't done your favorite hobby, that's going to be dopamine producing, especially if it's something that has an adrenaline rush to it. If it's calmer and cooler and slower, then it's going to have more serotonin. I put a picture on my Instagram, not that I'm the best at doing that, maybe a week or two ago, where my youngest daughter, Saoirse, and I went paddleboarding at sunset. You check the picture out. She's my beautiful 12-year-old daughter, so keep your minds clean because inevitably somebody makes a comment. But we're there at sunset and the sun is behind her, and it was just so peaceful and amazing. So go do things that are fun. Do it with people you care about and rock out your best work. Okay, so let's see. How can undescended testicles come down, please? So it depends what's at the core of that one. Many times that is an actual biological issue. So it's not a neurological issue. And so when I work with people, and it's a great question, but this isn't the forum for it. When I work with people, I try to figure out all the working parts in a whole person approach. So it's a neuro, bio, psychosocial approach for real. And what that means is I look at how your brain is performing. We do the qEEG brain assessment. I look at all the biological symptoms that you have, and I can trace those back to your brain performance. And you might have other things going that don't have to do with your brain performance. Then there's also psychological issues. So there's mental health issues, anxiety, depression, anger, irritability, ADHD, focus issues, all related to porn consumption. And if you have other things going on, I can help you kind of, follow the breadcrumbs on that. And the last piece is social. We know that porn can really do a number on people's relationships, can kind of trash what's going on. So it's a whole person approach, but we're not going to answer that here. Sorry to tell you. Okay, so it's 2:00. I've got to get off soon, but let's see. I have a question on PIED. Should I wait to date till I recover or start dating now? I would say wait till you recover, but we're going to put recover in quotes because you can wait around for a really long time and not have your brain function come back online. And in that assessment that I talked about, I can see how far away from recovering your brain is. I work with so many people who stop watching porn, but a year later, they still have PIED because their brains have never rewired. So you also don't want to wait forever. But what we do know about PIED is that it really gives people a lot of performance anxiety, which makes the PIED worse, and you're in a downward spiral. I want you to start dating when you're in an upward spiral. So get the Muse headband and the link I put, and start moving forward and making sure that you're healing your brain. Okay. Old timer. Most people relapsed last night. Come on. Where's the pragmatic hope, my friend? Monir, thanks. Thank you for the kind comment. I totally appreciate it. Thanks, Fizz. I have been running around all day long, so I jumped in here and I had to program them myself. Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know. It's could be Buffalo's year, right? I was just in Buffalo. Eric Drake, how are you, my friend? On another site, I don't know. First Wednesday, you know it, buddy. That's why I'm here. Okay. I'm just looking through, and I'm probably going to have to wrap up because I'm trying to be true to myself that I know food cannot be as addictive as porn. Oh, okay. Hey, Daweed, thanks for joining us from Russia. I started putting Russian subtitles on myself, and I have my team do it for me now. So I'm so glad that you're able to watch my videos. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up there for today, but join me for the Miss Watson is not with me today. Jamie is not here, and she and I are actually making some moves within my company. So I'll have to announce that once it's officially official, but I'm going to be here by myself and she'll probably join me a little bit. Yep, my programs, Lance, right, Malcolm, my programs are appropriate for everybody because, I think I'm a one world community kind of girl. No, looking at pictures of your spouse, that's a good coping mechanism, but go be with your spouse. Forget looking at the pictures. Stanley, I'm glad you're here and you're keeping it clean this week. Okay, join me first Wednesday in October because the first Wednesday in October, I'm going to get more themed. And what we're going to do is talk about ADHD. And in October, the podcast is going to be about ADHD. This week's podcast is the six myths about porn. I was originally going to name it what you want to hear about porn versus what you need to hear about porn. So I then made it into the 6 myths. So go over there and check them out because I'm going to demystify. I'm going to send you to the science so you can check it out for yourself. Demystify those myths so that hijacker within doesn't get any ideas. Okay. All right. Join me in October. And until then, come on, somebody Oh, you got to control your brain tattoo. That is amazing. I was going to say, somebody's got to tell me, control your brain. That is the most amazing thing that I've ever heard. I love it. So that's wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Stanley. I appreciate it. All right. I'll see you all next time. Control your brain or it'll control you. I'll see you then.